if you could, on your cover page, the pink page, tell yourself there's a trig test review or checklist on whichever page you choose to write this down. If it's 122, tell yourself it's on page 122. Let's go very basic. If you have a pair, you're going to use sine law. Okay. If it's SSS or SAS, it's cosine law. Very plain and simple. If it's SSS, all you have left is to solve for an angle. So you would use cosine of A is equal to B squared plus C squared minus A squared over 2BC. Okay, just got to make sure that the A's are across from each other. If it's side angle side, right, it'd be this formula that you'd be using there instead. Okay. And the sine law I'm not going to show because that one is the one we use most frequently and you're most comfortable with based on what I've seen. It'll be heavy on word problems, okay? So don't worry too much about just a triangle. You just solve everything on that triangle because I know you know how to do that. So focus on word problems. So basically, review page 35 to 36. There's different scenarios that I've covered. Okay, so there's I made that for you. You're the first group that has that, but the different scenarios you could encounter. What do the triangles look like, or what can it look like? Okay. The other thing I need you to understand is that the angle of depression is always measured. Okay, this is the angle of depression, and angle of elevation is going to be measured from the ground up. This is the one that probably gets you in trouble most of the time. So when you have something like this, if this is 20 and this is 50, right? You've got two slants with different angles of elevation. What's in here then? What is this going to be? I used round numbers so that it's easy. It's going to be 30 in here, correct? This is going to be 30. Why do I write so small today? I don't know what's going on. This is 30. Okay, 50 minus 20. That little wedge, like if you're looking at this obtuse triangle here, is going to be 30. So angle of elevation, both of them will be measured from the ground. Similarly, if it's two angles of depressions, you're looking out from a tower and you're looking at two different points, this is basically just flipped, right? It's just going to be flipped like this, where you have to have an imaginary horizontal line. Right? You could be looking at something back there, and then you could be looking at something here, and this is the ground or the water. Right? If this is 20, and then you're told this is 50, beware, right? Like it's always from the horizontal down. So that would mean that this wedge here is 30. Okay, so that's so then I'm going to cut this here. Problems where height is given. I would ask you to go pages 39 to 41 specifically. There will be more, but go check those out. Then you've got multiple triangles. You know what? I'm just going to give you a whack load of pages. 46 to 60 has a healthy mix of that. If you want to look at the key, it was posted April 12th. If you're working on any of these pages and you're like, I wonder what it actually should amount to, go and check those pages out. Go to April 12th. That's where I posted that. Compass directions. Look for the heading in Google Classroom. There's one that is compass directions. There's a bunch of there are keys there, but just make sure your clean triangle usually has one angle given. Okay, this is just me making a statement there. I don't think any textbook would ever do that, but that's fair to say. It's safe to say that. Then you're gonna have SSA where it's ambiguous cases, right? You're gonna have to determine number of solutions. You go rod and string. That's what I mean by that. And then solve triangles, right? You've got multiple solutions. Know how to do that as well. And by that I mean that you have this one and then you have this one. And the one thing I want you to highlight, I'm going to call this angle R1, angle R2 because it's across from the rod. So if this is your rod, this is your rod, so kind of like side R. What do we know about R2? R2 is 180 minus R1, correct? So don't forget that little fact. I would add this to my study sheet because down the road you might forget that. But it saves you a ton of time, it saves you a lot of trouble, and that's just it. Then there's going to be a 2016 test. Omit proof. There's one question that asks you to prove cosine law. Don't worry about that. Okay. I don't do that anymore. I used to prove cosine law. It takes me like half a class just to prove that it works, and like it just takes too much time and effort. You just need to know how to use it. Right? That is it. I posted the key to this test. I have to say 2016 was a long time ago. The way that is solved may be different than the way I've shown it to you, but you just care about the final answers, right? That's what you really want to look for anyways. So that is it. Any questions, come and see me.